And there's the IMF. IMF is too good of an acronym for what it is. Oh, welcome again to Keith Explains. Sorry, we were just talking about the World Bank here in the studio and got distracted. It's Keith Explains again. Tonight, I'm going to talk about that Harry Potter thing. I'm sure you've heard about it in the news. Harry Potter, it's the thing that convinced children to read. Again. Because apparently they hadn't been reading for about 10 or 12 years, from what I can figure. You know, I mean, I've seen the scores. They really weren't talking reading in the schools, because if they had been teaching it at all, the scores would have been higher. So this Harry Potter book comes out. You know, some woman in England wrote it. I guess she had no money and she thought, well, I could be a writer. Which I think is, if you have no money, you ought to be a writer. I mean, it's either that or watch TV. And watching TV, there are no jobs just watching TV. So being a writer, pretty much all you got to be. So she wrote this book called Harry Potter. Just sat down, wrote it, beginning to end, probably, on yellow stencil pad. I'm making this part up, but let's assume she did. You know, thought about it, wrote the whole darn little story out, and then sold it to somebody, and that somebody, you know, published it, and then suddenly it's the bestest book in the world. You know, that Shakespeare guy had nothing on the author of Harry Potter. Rowling, I believe. Years from now, it'll be Shakespeare and Rowling. People in college will be doing theses about Rowling's and, you know, discuss the allegory of the frog in book 6 and how it relates to the global nuclear meltdown of 2009. That kind of thing. Anyway, Harry Potter, book, sold it, immensely popular, did a second book, immensely popular, third book, immensely popular, fourth book, immensely popular. There's no fifth book yet. I bet she's working on it, but there's a lot of pressure when you've had 4 immensely popular books to make the 5th book good. And, you know, in a little book, Harry Potter's getting older, so it's got to get more deep. And you can't repeat yourself because people have read the previous ones. They'd notice. You know, it's kids' books. Now they made 2 movies. Went and saw one of the movies last weekend. Saw the other movie a year ago because it was out a year ago. That's when I see movies, when they come out. Or after they come out if I rent them on DVD and watch them in my house. But I saw these in the theaters. I'll briefly summarize. So we got Harry Potter. Harry Potter has like the worst life in the world. He's like 10. He's living with his horrible relatives in England. Whole book takes place in England. Why? Because you're allowed to treat people badly in England, and you're allowed to be weird, and people don't notice, which is critically necessary for this entire story. Because beginning of Harry Potter, they're making the boy live under a stairway. And he goes to school, and I'm sure other people know he lives under a stairway, but they don't do anything about it. In America, you'd have Child Protective Services at your door in about a week and a half if you had a boy living under a stairway going to school. But Harry, now, Harry's fine with living under the stairway. He's kind of unhappy because he lives with his aunt and uncle who treat him horribly, treat their boy great, because their boy's good, Harry's bad. Harry turns 11. Suddenly, the letters start arriving, and his aunt doesn't want Harry to get letters because Harry's not the kind of boy who should get letters. And they try and stop him, and he finally gets a letter, and the letter is saying, hey, you can go to Hogwarts School of Magic. And he's like, I've never heard of this Hogwarts School of Magic. And like, you know, big, huge guy, looks hard to say, looks just really big guy. Harry, big beard and everything. It's like, Harry, you're a wizard. You got to go to Hogwarts School of Magic because that's what wizards do. And come on, you're going with us. And the aunt and uncle don't want him to go, but eventually he goes. Okay, so this capsule summary, horrible, horrible existence, mistreated, going away to boarding school. Apparently everyone in England goes to boarding school. Like Prince Charles's kids went to boarding school. I don't know anyone else in England. But I mean, based on my sample size, everyone in England goes away to school. So Harry going away to school. And they have, you know, this train, and he's got to go to platform 11 and a half or something, and doesn't know how to get there, and they push, you know, he gets pushed through a wall, and there's a big, huge steam locomotive, and it drives him away to the Hogwarts School of Magic, which is a huge castle out in the middle of nowhere. Now, I guess in England you can have huge castles out in the middle of nowhere. I've seen maps of England. They have huge castles out in the middle of nowhere. Presumably so that, you know, if the Normans got halfway across England, there'd still be a castle nearby that could attack them. You got the huge castle out in the middle of nowhere. It's Hogwarts School of Magic. They get there. You know, it's. I assume if you live in England, this is what you think boarding school is. I mean, for me, you know, I went to school a block and a half away. It was a short little squat building made of concrete and brick. It was in Wisconsin. Thick brick because it gets cold. I had to keep out the snow. You know, you have like 9 feet of snow on the roof, so I have to deal with that too. Anyway, you know, school, squat. No, this fabulous castle. And they get there, and there's a big ceremony, and they like divide them down into houses. And apparently, like when you go to school in England, you don't just go to school. You have your little clan of friends within the school, and you all live in a tower. And there are other little clans of kids that also live in other towers, but you don't like them because they're in different schools. And for Harry, Harry's in Gryffindor, and they're, you know, a little evil kid. There's always a little evil kid in a story. You got to have an evil kid, little evil blonde kid. Evil kid's usually blonde too. I can say that as a non-blonde kid. Little blonde kids in Slytherin. You know that Slytherin, named after a snake. You can see that one coming. Gryffindor, I believe, named after a dragon. Hufflepuff's named after, I don't know, Big Bird. I don't even know what the fourth school is in Harry Potter. I'm sure someone will write in. I'll probably have like 50 letters in the morning after this airs of people correcting me on all the crap I got wrong. Because they have Harry Potter trivia games now, where you can go like, you know, what direction did Harry go up the stairs after defeating the blank? And you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, up, because they gave it away in that question, but who the heck knows? So Harry gets to school, and now in a normal book, this would be the end. Harry had a horrible life. Now he's going to school. He's going to school at a great place. Oh, by the way, did I mention Harry's fabulously wealthy? Because the big Harry guy, you know, took him to the bank where they opened a huge vault, and it was just filled with gold. And like when I was watching it in the theater, I kind of mentally looked at all that gold and went, well, let's multiply. You know, it's worth $350 an ounce. That's got to be at least 2,000 pounds worth of gold. So Harry's Bill Gates rich is what Harry is. Although he doesn't act it, because he probably doesn't know he's Bill Gates rich. You know, he buys his little robes for school, and he buys the school books, and he complains about buying crap for school. And really, I mean, I remember when I bought stuff for school, I bought more stuff for first grade than Harry Potter apparently bought for his first year of wizardry school. And you've got to buy special stuff for wizardry school, like an owl. But Harry, rich, going to school, blah, blah, blah. This is where the book would end, because his life is bad, now his life is great. But now, J.K. Rowling, she's smarter than that. She sets up conflict at the school. So when he gets to the school, now suddenly there are rumors. And Harry's a wizard. Apparently there are a lot of other wizards. All the little wizards send their kids to, you know, to the castle to learn. And then the wizards and their families live out in England among the common people, whom they call muggles. Muggles means dumb. Near as I can tell, muggles, dumb. Wizards, smart. That's the kind of, you know, it's from England, so there's always a social class. There's always the regular people, and then there's the upper class elite, which J.K. Rowling used to be regular people, now upper class elite. She's like the richest woman in England or something. Because every time you buy a Harry Potter book, she gets like $19, I think is the conversion rate to pounds. I never quite understood how that worked. But, so, you know, Harry goes to school, and then suddenly there are rumors that, like, this really evil guy, Voldemort, got killed 11 years earlier, but maybe he's coming back. No one knows. Oh, and who killed Voldemort? Harry did. See? Here's where all of a sudden it just starts to get weird, because Harry's just not a regular kid. Harry's like the bestest wizard in the world, and he don't even know it. Because like Harry was killed when he was like, Harry was like 6 months old when Voldemort, most evil wizard in the world, killed both of Harry's parents, and then tried to kill Harry. Harry, little baby, laying in a crib. Harry defeats the most powerful wizard in the world. Now this is really a bummer of a way to open a book if you think about it. You know, both your parents dead, you killed a bad guy. And I was thinking about that some more, and suddenly I realized, Harry is Batman. Because think about it. Batman, both of his parents were killed by a criminal, and then Batman spent his entire life becoming the best costumed freak to fight crime there was. And Harry, that's what Harry's doing. He's off at a castle. He's wearing the robes and the costumes and stuff, and he's got a little wand, and he's pointing and turning them into frogs. Harry's going to become the bestest wizard in the world to fight crime. So like 15 years from now, he'll have his own, image comic. He'll pick a name like Harry the Wonder Boy or something, and he'll be flying around in tights, turning things into newts and stuff. But that'll be then. This is now. Now Harry's got to get an education, because all good superheroes are educated. I say that just because superheroes, they always seem bright. You never see a dumb superhero. All the dumb ones are supervillains. Okay, well, Hulk was kind of dumb, but lovable dumb. So Harry's at school. There's a wizard. And I don't know what it is. Maybe schools work different in Britain or England or wherever the heck it is. I'm doing the math. Harry's got like 8 or 9 other little kids in his little tower with him. They're all first-year students. And you go for 7 years. And there are 4 schools. So that means there's like 300 kids in this whole school, which gives you kind of an idea of, how big the wizard population is in England or wherever the heck they are. It's not huge, because they're only having 10 or 12 kids that are all 6 years old in a given year. That means it's like a really small city. But worse than that, you got this, you got 300 kids at a school. They all have magic wands. They have like 7 teachers to watch over them. And the teachers don't even really watch over them. There's like 1 teacher for each house, and she's just there occasionally. And like the rest of the time, the kids behave. Which again is why you couldn't have written the story if you were an American author. Because no matter how creative you are, you could not conceive of having 80 little 11 to 16-year-olds in a tower all by themselves without a set curfew and have them not destroy the place within like 3 weeks. But here, no. They all behave. They all have rules. They give points to the different houses. There's a little competition every year to see, what house comes out on top. And first year Harry's there, they're teaching him wizard things. They have, he's learning to use his little wand and learning about potions. And he hates his potion teacher, and his potion teacher hates him. And this kind of bugged me, because to me, people that read this book are, 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds. They love this. They carry it around. They read it the day it's out. I remember seeing the stories. I don't think you should be having a book for a 10-year-old that says, some of your teachers are just going to hate you and there's nothing you can do about it. Because that's just going to screw with their minds. They're going to start to wonder, what of my teachers hates me now? And Snape is just, he's evil. He's the Slytherin house. He's a snake. Snakes are evil. Snape kind of sounds like Snape. He's always nasty and mean to Harry, etc., etc., etc. So it's the first year. Harry's going along, and there's this worry that Voldemort's going to come back. Only no one calls him Voldemort except Harry. Everyone calls him he who should not be named, or you-know-who, or whatever they say. Harry just says Voldemort because Harry's a bright boy. Remember? Harry's the smartest boy in the world. And he's got his little friends at school. He's got his little Ron friend, which Ron in any regular movie would just be the buddy. There's always a star. Star's always got a buddy. Ron's the buddy. And then there's what's going to be the love interest, Hermione, I'm told, I think. I read the books first. I had no idea how to pronounce her name. She was just that H girl. Then I saw the movie and they pronounced it. I believe it's Hermione. Again, I'll have 50 letters written in if I got it wrong. I got it wrong, didn't I? What was I thinking? So, they're the little 3, the 3 smart little kids. And the little girl, smartest little kid in the world, she reads everything, yada, yada, yada. Harry is worried. Other people are worried they hear about the Sorcerer's Stone, and there was, at the very beginning, there was something stolen from the bank where Harry has all its money, and they think it was the Sorcerer's Stone, but it wasn't the Sorcerer's Stone, and these little first-year students are thinking, I'll get to the bottom of this mystery. And this, I know, came from America. I'm sure J.K. Rowling got this concept from American television, specifically from Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, television show from my youth, in which you had 4 teenagers, well, 3 teenagers and a dog, but the dog was like a teenager. The 4 of them driving around in a van solving mysteries. Not going to school. Little Scooby-Doo kids never went to school a day in their life, near as I can tell. Shaggy was dumb, and the dog was dumber, and, well, good Lord, there were 4 of them, because there was Velma and Daphne. But that said, so, the three little kids in Harry Potter, they want to solve this mystery. Like, it's not good enough there are smart adults around to solve this mystery. No, we got to solve this mystery ourselves. Otherwise, the world's going to end. And the whole book is them piecing together the mystery in weird little ways and reading things in libraries and being sneaky and stuff. When I was 11, I wasn't sneaky. When I was 11, I couldn't be sneaky if I tried. I mean, I'd try to be sneaky, but my parents would see through it from like 6 miles away, because you're not good at being sneaky when you're 10. Okay, and these little 10-year-olds also couldn't be good at being sneaky. They thought they were being sneaky, but I'm sure all the adults were like creeping around, opening the books to the right pages just before they got in the library, so that they'd think they were finding stuff. They don't mention that, but I'm sure that's how it worked. So they eventually pieced together, here's the capsule summary plot of the first year. So there's the Sorcerer's Stone, which they called the Philosopher's Stone. They changed it over here because no one knows what a philosopher is in America. And the Philosopher's Stone gives you immortality. And Voldemort, who's dead, except he's not, who see that coming, Voldemort wants to get the Philosopher's Stone in order to become immortal, so he can be evil forever. And the people, at the school, they figured, well, we got to protect the Philosopher's Stone. So instead of doing anything smart, like locking it in a safe, no, they've hidden it deep, deep in the school, and then all the little professors and teachers in the school have set their own traps, because every teacher has a different subject, and so they set a little trap in their subject that you'd have to get through to get to the Philosopher's Stone to make yourself immortal. And Harry and his, and the buddy and the girl figure, well, we got to go rescue the Philosopher's Stone. And this, to me, if you're an evil guy, why don't you get 3 numbnuts, 3 numbskulls, to walk through all the traps and bring the stone to you? So I kind of, when I was reading the book, I figured this was what's going on. But no, it's not. The evil guy is trying to get through the traps himself. And the 3 little, the kids, the mystery gang, they're following along. You get the huge dog that's guarding the door, and you got to get by it by playing music, because you hear from Hadrick that the dog just loves music and goes to sleep. And you got the weird little plants where, I don't remember where you get by the plants, but someone will write in again. And you had a huge chessboard, and little buddy, good at chess. And you had a room filled with flying keys, and I guess Harry took first place in the shooting flying keys contest at school or something. I don't remember how they got by that one either. And eventually you get to the room with the Philosopher's Stone, and only Harry manages to get in there. And in there he finds, the evil guy, Voldemort. Only it's not Voldemort, it's the kind of nice, stuttering dark arts teacher at the school. Only turns out he's got Voldemort on the back of his head. He's got a head with 2 sides. There was a superhero like that. Had 2 sides to his head. But this evil guy in the back, stuttering guy in the front, and then there's a fight, and there's this weird magic mirror in there. And in the end, of course, Harry manages to defeat the evil guy. Because that's the way, kids' books got to end. You can't have the evil guy winning at the end, because that would depress the kids. So, end of the first book, Harry manages to defeat the evil guy, saves the Philosopher's Stone, and I think they destroy it, and some other magician dies or something. I don't remember exactly. First book, good book. They made a movie out of it. Movie's pretty much just what I described. The movie, book meshed together very well. Now, I'm sure when she wrote it, she was just trying to write the first book. I mean, every author thinks they're going to write a whole bunch of books, but not many do. Most authors write like half of a book and then spend the rest of their life talking about how they got a book they're going to write one of these days. I have a preface. Well, I have half of a preface. I haven't finished the preface yet. When I finish the preface, I'll be set. But this one, she finished the book, sold the book, wildly popular. They sell it through Scholastic. Billions of kids bought it, made a movie, made a second book. What's the plot of the second book? Again, Harry, living at home, abject horror, goes to school, and through the year, a whole bunch of wacky things happen that make Harry think that, the world's out to get him, and bad things are going to happen. The world's going to be blown up, just like in that, movie. Could be any movie, really. I mean, there's so many movies where the world's going to get blown up. And in the end, everything's okay. In this story, second movie, second book, little creepy, dirty magic thing tells Harry not to go back to school because it's going to be bad. Harry goes back to school anyway. And once he gets there, there are all these rumors, chamber of secrets. Apparently this school has a secret chamber. They've been looking for it for 800 years, haven't managed to find it. I think if you got 800 years to find a huge chamber in your school and you don't find it, you're not bright. I mean, just draw a map of the place and think, look, there's this huge space here with no doors into it. That's where the secret chamber is. In the second movie, secret chamber it's in a girl's lavatory, which I also think is a dumb place to put a secret chamber because it means half the population can't get to your secret chamber because boys aren't allowed in a girl's lavatory. I learned that very early in school. Boys not allowed in girls' lavatory. Girls not allowed in a boys' lavatory. These are two doors through which you may or may not pass. And you got the Chamber of Secrets, and again, there's the, there's a backstory. The four wizards founded the house, blah blah blah, built the Chamber of Secrets, blah blah blah. Don't like some kind of wizards, don't like other kind of wizards. And this is all really deep stuff for what's really a 12-year-old to be thinking about. And it's one of my big issues with the book, which is I think we're setting kids up for something weird. Because like I was explaining, there's really no adult supervision at the little school of magic at all. I mean, they just expect kids to study and stuff. And yeah, see, if you took 10, 12-year-olds from, the average 5th grade right now, and you put them somewhere, and you tried to get them to talk, and you tried to get them to learn and stuff, it'd be just like that Lord of the Flies book. They'd have a little secret society, and they'd be killing pigs, and they'd be dragging bushes around, but no one would know how to cast any spells at all. The second book is creepy. I mean, the second movie really was creepy to me, and I watched it in a room full of a whole bunch of children, and a lot of other kids thought it was creepy too, because they got these spiders, and the spiders are dropping on them, and ooh, I'm really not pleased with spiders in movies, or in real life. Don't like the spiders. I don't like spiders because spiders have 8 legs, and they can move them all at the same time. I don't like things that are more coordinated than I am. I have 10 fingers. I can move maybe 3 of them at the same time. And do anything, with any dexterity. Spiders, 8 legs, and they're creepy, and they're hairy. I don't like the hairiness in spiders. I don't want to get off on a spider rant here, but yee. And the other weird thing about it is, so Harry Potter, he's like the brightest wizard in the world. Everyone thinks he's the brightest wizard in the world. Nonetheless, adults don't believe him when he says things. Like, he says, I think there's a secret plot to do this. And everyone just pats his head. That's nice, Harry. Go away. We adults are talking about important things. I mean, they pretty much could have replaced all the words the adults said in this movie with that Charlie Brown, that talk. And it would have been the same movie. Except it would have had the cool Charlie Brown voice in it. And, I mean, overall, I don't want you people to think I didn't like the movie. Or the books. I think the book's pretty good, actually. I think we got to think a little more about the books we're giving our kids. And apparently they buy them from little... In America, the books are shipped by Scholastic. Scholastic, near as I can tell, is designed as a way to get kids to buy book and then get kids to buy books at school, and then they give 10 cents on every dollar to the school or something. I remember when I was in 2nd grade, we'd get the little flyer of books we could buy from Scholastic, and you'd tear the back little page out, and you'd put little tick marks next to you on it. You add them all up, and I'm buying $4.35 worth of books. And my big recollection about Scholastic books was when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, I bought a lot of joke books. The big thing in joke books for me, 2nd and 3rd grade, was elephants. All the joke books were about elephants. So what's heavy and red and hangs around in trees? Elephant with toenail polish. And this was the funniest joke in the world when I was in 2nd grade. I got books full of jokes like that, and they all involve elephants. I don't know why elephants. I mean, elephants weren't funny 2 years later, because I looked at the books again when I was 4th, 5th grade. I was trying to tell jokes to the 2nd graders, and they didn't have nothing to do with the elephant jokes. But that's my recollection of Scholastic books. Now Scholastic books are things like Harry Potter and how to build a small nuclear weapon in your basement. Because I've looked at the little flyer again. That and then, I read like Encyclopedia Brown. Now Encyclopedia Brown's kind of like Harry Potter, because like, you got a 10-year-old who's so much smarter than everyone else that like he can do his dad's entire job just off the top of his head. Like his dad would come home, got a tough case at work, boy. His dad's the police chief. He's like, well, tell me about it, Dad. And then his dad would describe. Now here's the thing I loved. His dad would be sure to omit exactly the right, would be sure to give exactly the right information. Nothing was left out. And when you flipped the little page in the back, every single paragraph that conveyed a piece of information somehow tied into the clue, which I think has ruined me for later life. Because in real life, there are all these extraneous clues. Like crap that's true, but has nothing to actually do with the problem at hand. And that bothers me, because I've been lied to. Similarly, the little Harry Potter thing is lying to kids, because it's telling them, some of your teachers are going to hate you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And in my mind, if you're 10 and you're watching the show, and if one of your teachers hates you, you call the PTA, and you tell them this teacher hates me and he's mean, that teacher will be out of there. Because teachers are not allowed to hate kids. They're allowed to not like them, because who really likes a whole room full of screaming 10-year-olds? No one. But you shouldn't hate them, because hating them is not good. It's just going to psychically wound them later. And if you have, if it's telling kids that, you can be the bestest wizard in the world, and you can go to the bestest wizardry school in the world, and they're going to love you there, but every summer they're going to send you home to horrible people, and there's nothing you can do about it. And in book 3, near the end, Harry and his little gang, the mystery gang, they solved the puzzle again. That was a big surprise. But yeah, of course they solved the puzzle again. And then they get to the end, and then they try to tell the little teachers what happened, and they don't believe them. Because this Harry kid, he's only saved the school 3 out of the last 3 years from the most horrible things imaginable. He couldn't possibly know what's actually going on. God, no. So we're teaching kids. Anyway, they are very good movies. And they're very good books. The books are better. The movies have to cut stuff out. Because the movie, I went to it. It's a 3-hour movie for book 2. I think it was almost 3 hours for book 1. Okay? Book 3, about the same size as books 1 and 2. So that's going to be another 3-hour movie. Book 4 is like the size of books 1 and book 2 put together. So that's going to be like a 6-hour-long movie. Okay? You can't expect 10-year-olds to sit through 6-hour-long movies. You can't expect me to sit through a 6-hour-long movie. There's that new Lord of the Rings special DVD where they got the special extended edition that has more hobbits or something. I don't quite know what they put in it, but if I were them, I'd sell the packaging with now with extra hobbits, big sticker on the front. That'll drive sales through the roof, because one thing I didn't get enough of in that first movie, not enough hobbits. But got the extra hobbits. I don't know how they're going to do book 4 as a movie. Truthfully, they're totally, totally doomed. Book 3 will be interesting. It's also cool because the little kids are grown up. I don't know how much longer they're going to be short. Let's just pray that little Harry Potter kid doesn't do the same thing that little Macaulay Culkin did. Because by like book 5, he'll be married and burning down his apartment and shooting heroin into his veins, and that would be bad. So, if you haven't read the books, you should. They're quick reads, big words, not a heck of a lot happening. You can kind of see things coming from far away. I breezed through most of them in 2 or 3 hours. Movies are pretty good. Take your kids. They'll enjoy them. If anything about the movies just kind of seems a little weird to you, you can email me. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in another 2 weeks. Okay, now we were talking about the World Bank, weren't we? So I was talking with Greenspan, and here's my theory. World Bank doesn't have enough money. I don't know why it doesn't have enough money. The World Bank should have all the money in the world, shouldn't it? Where do banks put the money that they have that they aren't using? I gave my bank a whole bunch of money. And what did they do with it? So they must have given it to another bank.